Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam, and this is the Subscriber Sunday video. At the end of this video, I have photos that subscribers sent in from their yards, things that they're proud of and want to include in my videos on Sundays. Thank you for doing that. I had 4 this week. I think I already have 2 for next week. So if you want to send those photos in, the email address is right here. I really appreciate that. Before that, in this video, I've got some photos that I took this week at Raleigh Little Theater at the Raleigh Rose Garden in North Carolina. So I hope you enjoy those photos. I enjoyed taking them. Before the photos, I'm going to spend some time talking about overwintering shrubs and trees that you may have in containers. We're in the late summer now as I'm shooting this, and we got to start thinking about what we're going to do with any trees or shrubs or perennials that we might want to overwinter and keep in containers for next year. So I'm going to include some information about that. And I'd also like to mention that in the very bottom of all of these videos, there's a link to something called kit.com, and it's where I have basically a collection of all the items that I've used in the various videos. And if you use those links and you end up purchasing something, they're mostly Amazon links, do get a small percentage of that, which helps offset the cost of producing these videos. The first thing we need to know about overwintering trees and shrubs in containers is the roots are far more vulnerable to freeze damage than the top of the plant. And therefore, this plant I'm holding is a crepe myrtle. It's hardy in zone 7 to 9. In a container planted out in open space in my zone 7 area, I'm actually in zone 5, maybe 5B. And so this plant is definitely not hardy just out in open space in a container. The roots will end up very severely damaged in most winters and likely kill it. If I had the container up near my house or near some sort of structure that was offering it some protection, we'd probably just subtract 1 zone. So instead of being in zone 7, I'm in zone 6. So marginal plants that you're already on the northern edge of, are not the best idea to have in containers anyway. You want to find plants that are 1 to 2 zones more cold hardy than your area to overwinter them and not offer any protection to the containers. So like I say, I'm in zone 7. So the best plants for me, if I was going to plant a shrub or a tree in a container and then leave that container out in open space where it's just completely surrounded by cold potentially, I need zone 5 plants. That's very important. And I can get away with it without any problem. Of course, this gets harder and harder and harder the further north you go. If you're in zone 5, you need zone 3 hardy plants. It kind of reduces the number of plants that are available to do that. Like I say, you can take the containers and get them up near a structure and probably only lose 1 zone in that case, especially on the western wall, because the west is the last part of the structure where the sun is hitting it late in the day and it can hold some heat in overnight. So you can get it down to 1 zone up near a structure, 2 zones out away from a structure. Now that's very important. So if you have a plant that's for zone 6 and you're in zone 6 and that pot is out in open space, you need to get that in your garage on the coldest part of the winter for sure. You at least need to get it up near a structure during most of the winter, and then the nights it's going to be in the single digits. You're going to want to put it in a garage or something like that. Here's a container I've had for years. It's got a variegated ligustrum in it, and it's got a ground cover juniper in it called Blue Pacific. Blue Pacific juniper is a zone 5 plant, so it's definitely hardy no matter where I put it in my yard. Like I say, I'm in zone 7. This ligustrum is a zone 6 evergreen leafy shrub, and if I put this out by my mailbox or something, almost certainly that pot would end up freezing solid enough to do significant damage to that plant. So I just get it up here closer to my house in the wintertime, and it's been fine. Here's a sky pencil holly, which is a zone 6 leafy evergreen plant, and I've got it up here near my house. So zone 6 plant in a container near the house. If I drag this out into an open area and get the winter wind on it while this pot is frozen, it'll definitely end up damaged. So the main thing to take from this is you need to know what's in your container. You need to know the low zone that plant will take. You need to know the zone that you're in. You subtract 2 zones if you're going to leave the container out in open space, 1 zone if it's up against a foundation. If it's a plant like this crepe myrtle that's zone 7 and I'm in zone 7, that plant's going to need to go in a garage or someplace in the coldest nights of the winter. Probably anything where the pot's going to freeze solid, that plant's going to need to go inside, but it needs to stay cold. You don't want to put it in a spot where it's going to end up leafing back out. We want to keep it dormant, so we want to keep it cold but not frozen solid. So I hope that this was helpful, and here are the Sunday subscriber photos. Thank you.